Hello and happy sixth day of Christmas. Today is December 30th, and so today and tomorrow, December 30th and 31st, I would like to talk about endings and beginnings. Today, I would like to talk about this past year, and tomorrow, I will talk about next year, a retrospective and a prospective. And in looking back at this past year, this strange, bizarre year that we've had, something has occurred to me about human happiness. Shakespeare at Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2 says, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." That's not always true. There are some things that are better than others, but he's not far off. Stephen Covey has written that 10% of life is what happens to us, and 90% is our reaction to those things. In other words, thinking makes something good or bad. This past year has been full of very strange and odd circumstances, and yet we have endured. And so the question that I would like to ask everyone to ponder on this sixth day of Christmas is, what is our perspective about it? What is our perspective on the things that have happened to us personally, to our communities, to our families, to our church, to our nation, to the world? How are we viewing them? Are we viewing ourselves as victims of unfair chance? Are we viewing ourselves as champions within a fight? Are we viewing ourselves as survivors? How are we seeing the things that are happening around us? The way that we think about these past months, and in fact, everything that happens to us throughout our lives, will determine, in large part, what we think about it. Whether we think about it positively or negatively. Whether that bad thing that happened to me destroyed my chances for future happiness, or whether that bad thing that happened to me gave me new opportunities to change and thrive that I would have never had before. Those are just a few examples. But the fact is that our parish, for example, has changed quite a bit. We haven't had consistent in-person worship since March, and yet because of this strange pandemic, we have expanded an audiovisual system that would have never happened but for it. And so that's what I would like each one of us to ponder. What has happened to us and to our families and to our communities and our church and our nation and our world? And how do we see it? How do we see ourselves in it? Do we see ourselves in a way that is life-giving and positive, helping us toward growth, or otherwise? At John chapter 15, Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he assures us that if we are faithful in giving love to others, we will not only be joyful, but that our joy will be complete. So this passage has to do with love, and it has to do with joy, it has to do with Jesus, it has to do with others, it has to do with ourself. But what is the key? What is the key to this? Where does that joy, that complete joy, come from? In my mind, it comes from our decision. Like Shakespeare says, thinking makes it so. It is our decision to love others. It is our decision to view others as worthy of our love. It is our decision to act charitably. It is our giving that results in our joy. Jesus says, if you are faithful in giving love to others, your joy will be complete. And so I commend that to us. to think about how we are engaging in our lives right now, to see the needs of others, to be compassionate, and to find our perspective in doing so, to setting our minds to always being attentive to what is going on with others, so that we might, in fact, have joy because we've decided to give love. Thinking makes it so. So, as we look back on this past year and our current situation, let us engage in the mystery of choice. Let us engage in the mystery of love and joy, and let us decide in favor of happiness, in favor of seeing the world in a way that makes us able to say to ourselves and to each other, Happy 6th day of Christmas.